Hello Pisces, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Pisces is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider hitting the subscribe button, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we're beginning with the Death card. Now, don't freak out. This is one of the most profound cards of the tarot. It's the Death card, right? Scary. Ooh. It's a card of change. This is the card of evolution. This is the card of rebirth. This is the nature of nature. This is the fundamental force of the universe. The only constant thing is change. Okay? I think you're somebody who knows that. I think you're somebody who is aware of how every experience is molding us and shaping us, and we're starting to take an active interest into, okay, who am I becoming? Who was I, 100 years ago? Who am I now? And we can see that process, and we can see how every experience, every thought, word, and deed has gone in to shape who we are right now. And of course, looking at the other end of the hourglass, we can see how everything I do now is creating who I'm going to be. Okay. This is a card perhaps of letting go of the past. Not so much letting go as in, I just got to forget about it, put it out of my mind, forget it ever happened. No. Maybe it's accepting it and saying, it's a part of me now. It's gone, it's transmuted, it's changed. But it's a part of me now, and I have to recognize that, and I have to be able to be consciously aware of who I am so that I have a little bit of say in which way the river goes. I can nudge the river a little bit. We cannot stop the river. We can't push the river back upstream. Okay, we can't stop the process of change. We can't go backwards. We can maybe try to slow it down a little bit. We can try to influence it a little bit, nudge it in the direction that we wish, the direction in which we wish to grow and evolve and change, okay? I think that we have kind of a responsibility to do that. I think if you're here watching this video, it means that you want to be part of that process. We're all changing no matter what. We're all magicians no matter what. Might as well be somewhat good at it, because this river's flowing anyway. Let's put it into some context. We got a Two of Swords. Which way are we left or right? How are we nudging the river? Six of Pentacles, the intuition of the High Priestess, the Eight of Swords, the Two of Cups, Eight of Wands, Four of Cups, Three of Cups, Nine of Swords. Interesting. The Nine of Swords. This is about actively looking at our own psyche, at our own souls, looking inside and seeing what is really in there, looking at our shadow and acknowledging it and saying, okay, all this stuff is there. I can listen to it. I don't want to forget about it. If we're not aware of our shadow side, if we're not aware of our complexes, if we're not aware of our unconscious, those voices are going to attack us when we're least expecting it. But by allowing them into the room, it's like you're having a board meeting at work, and you're going to let everybody come in and sit down, and everybody's going to have an opinion. Okay? But you're the CEO. You still get to decide what course of action. You get to decide which idea we're going to listen to here. You can let everybody have a voice. It doesn't mean that you have to let them run the company. But if we try to lock them out of the room, right? If we don't allow them, then I think they're going to sneak around. They're going to bang on the doors and the windows when we're not expecting it. They're going to sneak in. They're really going to cause some mischief in our lives. So we have to be able to look at those things that are painful to us, especially the things that, with the death card, we may wish that these things were behind us, forgotten all about them, right? But if we forget about them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to sneak up on you, and then they're going to attack you when you're not looking. So this is kind of actively looking at those things in our lives, in our inside of us psychospiritually, that are causing us a little bit of pain, and saying, okay, I'm not shunning any aspect of myself. I want to become a whole being, conscious and unconscious together. I want to be united. I want to be unified in myself. I want to be whole. I want to be a full organism here. So we're not rejecting any aspect of ourselves. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. Set it down right here with Mr. Ed, our little horse, right there on top. And we're not going to look at that card until the very end, okay? It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need. If at any point during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, please put your prediction, your guess, your hunch down in the comments. Okay, now let's take a look around the room. Two majors, the High Priestess and the Death card. Using our intuition to guide our choices, being pushed by Spirit. Spirit always wants what's best for you. Spirit wants you to get past. This is the Eight of Swords. This is us not letting those other voices into the boardroom, trying to deny them, trying to say, no, get out, get out, get out. This is the pain that would cause. We would make it worse by rejecting that. So it's kind of the Two of Swords here is us making the choice to accept and to listen, to follow our intuition that says, you've got to face certain things in life. And to do this is a way for us to heal. Is a way for us to, and I know that's kind of a difficult word. I don't know why the word healing, when we talk about healing, people get upset by that word, I find, because we all want that. We all want to feel better in life, right? I think we all want to make choices that are going to bring us more love, more joy, more beauty, more healing in our lives. Sometimes this process involves identifying those things that are blocking our healing. Finding those things that we don't really want to look at, that are, finding the thorn in our paw, being able to pull it out and acknowledge it and not get mad, right? Not get angry and not try to find the source of the thorn, who put it there and why, and have some words with them, but take it out so that the process of healing can begin. Okay, it's kind of like the snake that bites us, and then instead of seeking the anti-venom, we're chasing down the snake to say, why did you bite me? What did I do wrong? Why did I deserve this? So we have our two majors anyway. We have our intuition. And again, the High Priestess always is leading you toward your best life. In this case, leading you toward this feeling of wholeness. Okay, this healthy healing, this is kind of a perfect state of being here. We don't have much fire, a little bit of fire here. We have an 8 and an 8. We've got water, 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 cluster of water. Cluster of water, emotional complexes. We've got a little bit of air, air, and air. Interesting in that way, isn't it? We've got water, 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 air, air, air. About the way that our heart and mind are starting to have a conversation with each other. It could be that there are things emotionally that we don't want to talk about, we don't want to look at, we don't want to talk to them. Okay? But they're in there. And we can ignore them, and then it's like the heart and the mind are cold shoulder. They got their backs turned to each other. There's no interaction. Well, that's going to lead to problems. Okay, let's just say that. What we need is that conversation. What we need is the heart and the mind to start dialoguing with each other. And the heart can say, well, you know, this is where my issues lie, and the mind can say, okay, well, this is where my issues lie, and we can start to sift through some of those thoughts and feelings. Okay, because they are a part of you. They're inside of you. Now, the Death card and the 2 is the way that we're trying to follow our intuition, but sometimes that High Priestess, well, it feels like our intuition is trying to drag us through the briar patch, trying to drag us through a bunch of difficult things. It's like, well, no, I just want peace. I just want love. I just want healing. I just want joy. You know, I just want to be okay. I just, you know, I want to feel good. That's it. I just want a content life. I'm not asking for much. But it feels like Spirit's dragging us through the thorns, you know. So the intuition's not always easy to follow the intuition, because logically it says, well, no, I'm not going to go through the gauntlet. I'm not going to go through the briar patch, because that's the opposite of what I wanted. So logically it doesn't make sense, right? But the 2 of Swords is us trying to make a choice right now based on intuition, not based just on what we think is going to feel good, or what might give us the kind of expected answer. I'm trying to nudge the river a little bit, and that's not easy work. Because then the Death card is saying that we have to choose to accept certain things about ourselves. This is shadow work. We have to choose to accept certain things about ourselves if we're going to find the wholeness, the love, the contentment, and the celebration of life that we want. If we're going to find the creativity, we have to accept and integrate, and not reject, not ignore and reject, not throw it behind us and try to run away as fast as we can before it wakes up and chases us down. But we have to, in some ways, make friends with it, right? We need self-love, self-care to foster the healing. See, we want success, we want love, we want contentment, we want celebration, we want creativity. But we're not usually ready to go through the mental difficulty, the confusion, the gauntlet. We're not willing to usually deal with the pain and the kind of, the rejection of certain aspects of ourselves. But the 2 of Swords is telling us to follow our intuition, not follow our logic. You see, our logic is going to make things worse, we see with the air cards. Following the intuition will lead us to love, will lead us to self-love. This is a healing energy. This is a very pure love and compassion and empathy with ourselves, a self-love here. The intuition is here trying to help you push the river, but the mind is meeting with some resistance. Intellectually, there's some resistance here, okay? Because the rational mind is saying, no, it doesn't make sense. It's not rational to do that. Why? Well, because it hurts. It's not going to feel great. The 6 of Pentacles underneath everything is really this you are a whole being. You know, there's I feel like we hear in pop culture a lot. We hear a lot of the idea that, oh, we're broken, or, you know, we're all broken and we need fixing, right? What if we weren't broken? What if we were perfect exactly the way we are? It's just in our mind we have this this kind of duality thing. We have this perception of reality where it's we're separated from ourselves a little bit. And because of our brilliant minds, right? Because of our intellect, right? That separates us from all other life forms because we're so intellectual. Perhaps that is just its division. Perhaps these swords are splitting things up and saying that's acceptable, that's not, that I'm not sure about, that stuff's okay. That's all the mind is doing, is categorizing things. and splitting things up, making difference between this is not the same as that, this is good, that is not good, and everything's kind of black or white, or if it's not, I'm putting it here in the middle until I can figure out whether it's good or bad. And that's the dichotomy of the Two of Swords, and it's not a matter of categorizing things and judging things or labeling things. It's an intuitive thing. This card shows the crescent moon at the top. It's saying follow your intuition here. Don't let your mind make distinctions and make differences and try to say, well, this is the stuff that's okay for me to be. This stuff over here is broken. I need to fix it, or I need to get rid of it. I need to throw it in the past and forget about it. What we're trying to do is uncover our own wholeness. I don't think we're trying to fix anything. It's not a 5 of Pentacles, right? It's a 6. The idea that we're already whole. We're already perfect. We just need to have a kind of deeper realization of that. Maybe that's why the healing sort of trend is not really, I guess maybe it's not so popular now, or it sort of rubs people the wrong way, I think. And maybe that's for good reason. Maybe this idea of healing is assuming we're sick. Something needs to be, I got to fix myself. That implies that we're broken. What if we're not broken? Right? What if in our mind, through many, many different, I think, mechanisms and a lot of different reasons why we are valuing some things and not valuing other things. We're feeling as if certain things about me are acceptable and certain things aren't. We get that through society, culture. We get that through the Hierophant, which we don't have here. Maybe that's going to be the mystery card. Maybe we need to recognize that all of that comes from the Hierophant, something outside of us teaching us what's acceptable about us and what's not. There's movies galore, books, all sorts of creative works of fiction that talk about this, and true life biographies, life stories. I mean, I think it's a common fact of human existence that at some point in our life, someone outside of our own soul told us what was good and what was not good about what we were doing. Just as kids, we don't do that. And, as a child, you're not supposed to do that. You are supposed to do that. And that creates a complex. And sometimes those are good. You're not supposed to touch a hot stove. I know that. You're supposed to look both ways before you cross the street. I know that. That's a complex in me. Every time I get to a curb, guess what? That complex gets activated, and I look both ways. I like it. It's a good one. It's a useful cluster of energy, a useful program that gets activated in me. Okay? But there's also programs that would like to escape from the difficulties of life, would like to numb the feelings of pain or disharmony. And especially with that feeling of being separated from ourselves, sometimes the realization that that myself is there, but there's something blocking me from connecting with that energy or from acknowledging the connection. Okay, or there's a lot of different things that will kind of bloom in our garden, right? And we have to sort of address them. It's not, we don't go chase after it and try to rip it out by the roots and throw it away. We just say, okay, welcome to the garden. You're not going to choke out any of my other plants, though. You can stay. It's like my wife, we're going to try to start doing some little gardening here at our house this spring and summer. And she's the type of person that she likes the weeds. She doesn't get rid of the weeds. And I like that. It's difficult for me to get to, because for years you say, well, weeds are bad. You got your garden, we got to get rid of the weeds, right? But she's like, no, let's leave the weeds in. As long as they're not, killing off the other plants, the roses or the zucchini or whatever like this, leave the weeds there, We'll just keep them under control and they won't cause problems. But if we try to rip them out, then, maybe that's not the best. Maybe that's not the best approach. Maybe everything belongs here. We have to find a way for everything to get along. Yeah. And so we're going to try that. because I think a lot of different, and especially when we're not expecting it, something's gonna poke its ugly head up, and we're gonna be startled by it, and it's gonna activate something in us, and it may be part of our Eight of Swords. It may be one of these programs that make us feel powerless. It constricts our life. Okay, it's like the weed. If we're not paying attention to it, if we ignore it, it's going to end up choking out those plants that we really want to blossom: our love, our compassion, our empathy, our confidence, our self-esteem, our sense of value and worth, our spiritual purpose, our sense of spirituality as a whole. These weeds can try to, if we ignore them, will constrict those very positive things that we're trying to be, that we're trying to acknowledge about ourselves, right? There's a complex that, you're doing wonderful, successful work, but then you get a little certain type of criticism, and suddenly it chokes out all of your self-esteem and all of your confidence. Okay. But the difference here is that we cannot go to the roots and rip them out of our psyche. They're there. And the Death card is part of this acceptance that says it's part of us now. There's no way of getting to the root. Those things have already happened. We can't go back in time like Marty McFly and make the thing not happen so that we don't have that weed in our garden. The weed is just the unwanted, and I don't know that much about gardening. I don't know why we call some things weeds and other things are flowers and plants, and I don't know. But we can't eradicate any of that stuff. So all we can do is move forward with the Two of Cups and accept and embrace who we are and love ourselves. And if this means healing to you, fine. If this means self-love, self-care, if this means, kind of coming into a union with our true selves and embracing who we are, embracing all sides of ourselves, but trying to maintain a balance, then this is what we've got to do. We cannot go backwards. We can't push the river back up the hill. But what we can do is make choices based on love and intuition, empathy, compassion, to help nudge the river in the direction that we want it to go. To try to guide the garden toward the vision that we have of who we really want to become. Now, Path of the Serpent. The alternative to the Eight of Swords is the Eight of Wands. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are totally free. So the Eight of Wands now is this energy that's bursting forth from us. We want to grow. We want to expand. This is, our own mind is preventing us from growing. The weeds of our own psyche, right, are sort of constricting those things that we're trying to grow. And this may be sheer willpower. This may be now that we've gone through this acceptance, or we're trying to do this. Doing this more and more will allow us to grow in the ways that we want to grow. Now, all of the plants in the garden are living a kind of symbiotic life. There's not one thing that's growing too much and it's choking out the roses, or it's constricting the zucchini or whatever, right? And I think that we have to formulate in ourselves a very strong consciousness. I don't really want to call it ego, but maybe it is. That we have to be an enlightened ego, an ego that is in line with the true self, so that we can be the CEO of our own life. And we can choose to grow those things that really want to grow, and to manage those things that we don't want them to be prominent. I don't want my kind of self-destructive complexes to be too prominent. I don't want them to have too much of a voice. But we realize that if I'm the CEO, I can listen to everybody's voice, but I get to choose which idea. I get to choose how to run the company of my own organism, And it's called a company, right? Because there's more than one of us. There's a multitude inside of us, and all of our different complexes, all of our different splintered ego selves, and all these different desires we have. They all want something different, right? And we can we can allow everyone to have their own voice, but we get to choose. We get to choose. We get to choose how to nudge the river, and choosing love, choosing constructive things rather than destructive. Now the Four of Cups, in a way, is a card of forgiveness. Okay, it's a lot of water. There could be some things, could be some relationships, could be some energies that we do need to just forgive and integrate. Doesn't mean we're excusing anyone's nasty behavior. Doesn't mean that we're tolerating or putting up with anything that's kind of harmful to our well-being, psychospiritually. Sometimes forgiveness has to be done for its own sake, for our sake, for the sake of our growth. We could let maybe anger, we could let resentment, we could let past things constrict us. Those could be the weeds that are choking out the zucchini or the lotus or whatever, whatever you're growing. Tomatoes. Eggplant, maybe. I don't know. The peaches. We're choosing the path of love, and that means sometimes that I have to forgive things, not to excuse anyone's behavior, but for my own sake. Okay? Sometimes the Four of Cups is us trying to just say, no, I feel fine, I feel okay, I don't need anything, I'm okay without doing any of this work. And I think for a long time we are, and this can lead to a false sense of contentment, a false sense of, hey, everything's fine. It must have worked. I'm okay now. I don't see any need to do this kind of shadow work. Well, that's the thing about the shadow, is that it's unconscious. It's going to come and haunt us when we're not really prepared for it. And we may say, oh, no, I don't need to do any of that. I'm perfectly fine. This is different than actually having an awareness of our wholeness. This is a false sense of, no, everything's okay, I don't need to do the work. Okay. The Three of Cups is in the position of the difficulty. It's another card that sort of represents or can suggest forgiveness or a communication of our feelings, right? Sort of expressing our needs and being vocal, at least with ourselves, about what our true wishes, desires, what our needs, what our wants are. So this is maybe a card of being open and receptive and really, again, listening to what all the voices are saying. I think you have a lot of different desires in you. We all do. Listening to those. Okay, well, there's that version of me that desires, just kind of numbing the pain or escaping or self-medicating. There's another part of me that desires to, to live a calm and tranquil life. There's another part of me that desires to be ambitious, to have, to work hard and to achieve, And this is kind of like, this is an acceptance. And I think this is, again, realizing that the choice that we make as the CEO of the company is going to lead to a third transcendent result. It's kind of 1 + 1 is equaling more than 2 here. Okay? So in other words, I don't want to get into an argument about math. I know it doesn't actually work that way. But the combination of myself with the right other, the right complex or the right voice or the right objective or the right desire or whatever it is, my connection with my making the right choice is going to lead to something that transcends the present state of things. So we're looking to make those choices that are helping us to grow and expand, that are helping us to nudge the river in a direction of growth and expansion and abundance, appreciation, love, celebration, in a way that's going to transcend where we've started, something that's going to improve the quality of our life, something that is soul expanding, not soul contracting. Okay? And that's really the two differences that we have here. This is contracting, this is expanding. Now the Nine of Swords at the end here is the briar patch. This is the difficulty. This is a Mars in Gemini kind of thing. This is saying that we're sort of we're splitting apart. We're kind of doing exactly that we were speaking against just a minute ago. We're splitting things apart in order to identify them, right? So it's an alchemical process. We have to separate, purify, and bring back solve and the coagula, right? That we have to dissolve and then coagulate this energy. But without first seeing it and recognizing it and going through the difficult work, we're not going to know that those other plants are there. And then they're going to just sort of quietly choke out what we're really trying to grow. And we're going to wonder why. We're going to say, gosh, why did I do that stupid thing at that crucial moment? Why did I say that thing? Why did I sabotage myself? I don't know why I behaved that way. I don't know why I said that. Where'd that come from? You know, all those ways that we may unconsciously sabotage ourselves. We're trying to really identify those things and deal with those complexes and those other voices inside of us. We're doing the difficult work of self-examination. Okay. Now the mystery card, I think, is going to lead us to a lot more prosperity. Empress. Empress card, yeah? If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Here we go. Oh, a 10 of Cups. Well, hey, that's okay too, right? Basically the same thing. This I think is, well, it's a health, it's a well-being. This is a totally healed energy, if we can use that sort of maybe controversial phrase. This is a card of fulfillment. This is the card of appreciation. This is the card of like, everybody's welcome in the garden. Everybody's got to have their place. Everybody's got to have their role. But I like that we're going from the 8 to the 9 to the 10. This is really a full happiness and satisfaction. This is a contentment. This is like, I don't know, this is our best life. This is our dream come true. This is a satisfaction with our lives. This is the river's flowing in the right direction. That we're nudging the river, and it's creating a really beautiful, beautiful life. There's no aspect of us that is antagonistic to some other ambition. Everybody's living in harmony. Those challenging things, we're keeping an eye on them so that they can't come and sort of sabotage our ambition or whatever our life goals are. We're kind of saying like, okay, my garden is big and bountiful and there's room for my entire being here. But I'm going to maintain that. I'm going to be responsible and not let anything kind of overpower the other thing. I've got to be the CEO here and choose what path we're going to follow. So I feel like there is, perhaps a dominant energy in you, and maybe this is the kind of the top level goal that you have in life, or if it really is just a goal of contentment and a true satisfaction of knowing that that we're already whole, that we're not broken, I think this is a really wonderful confirmation. Now we're going to do an extended reading. We'll do an I Ching hexagram, we'll do some oracle cards. There's a link up top and there's a link down below. New readings for Pisces on Thursdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.